welcome to TBD Podcast. We're joined here by Sir Q, Brian the Bard, and Connor,
Hey, how's it
the
going?
cleric. Or
Connor
just
the
Connor.
we could just stick with Connor.
What's our topic today, Brian?
Well, I was thinking about this while we're playing a game, and we all have trends and tropes and themes that we play with. Not just our characters and the type of characters we play, but the classes and their builds. I was thinking that'd be a great topic to talk about. Just what are the commonality things we do? And in my case, I usually like to play smart characters, problem solvers. I like to be part of the puzzle. I usually run into the front of the battle and get whooped fairly quickly, with the exception of my artificer armorer, who stood in the front lines and just took a beating and couldn't get taken down. Quentin, your theme we were just talking about was you have fire damage. You really like to play fire based characters.
I also tend to be a leader character of some sort.
Typically, yes.
What about Connor? What's his trends?
I feel like I
Connor,
tend to fill in niches. Whatever's being left over. I just like mixing it up most of the time too.
you've
I don't
also been
settle.
a front lines fighter a lot of times.
That's usually what we're missing. That's I think what I end up going for is I usually give everyone a chance to kind of pick what they want because I'll have fun with whatever I do.
One
Gimmicky thing.
Yeah, one feat you've picked more than once is a chef. You really like to be the team chef.
I think I've done a rebuild twice where I did two grapple builds, didn't like the first one, so I did it again until I found the way to make it work. And then the chef one I did the first time, didn't care how it really worked, and then did a second one where it was actually healer based on chef.
Like the grapple build, you did a frogman poison build where you just latch onto their back and poison them.
Like Garog Shadow Monk.
And then your other one was in my Dragonlance game where you played as a wrestler who got bigger and just like was like Bane from Batman. You could just
Oh yeah.
Hulk out and pick things up and throw things around.
Very prone to mind control, unfortunately. Super unoptimized, but still fun.
It made it difficult me as a DM to give you magic items, which is a topic we'll talk about later, is how to hand out magic items. That's a great topic. But it was a great character and a great build. It was a lot of fun to throw challenges at you.
So, why is it important to know what kind of trends that you have in making characters?
Well, I think it's important to buck the trend sometimes. If you see you making the same kind of character, like for instance, I used to play a lot of bards. Maybe I should change things up. Try a melee character. That's why in our next game, I'm thinking about playing a barbarian. Just a big dumb brute who doesn't solve puzzles, who just walks around with a big hammer.
hmm Yeah, no, it's definitely important to have a lot of variety in the things you play, especially gives you opportunities to try out new things in a safe environment, especially when you're with a group of friends.
Well, I remember I ran the Strixhaven game, and it allowed you guys to do a non-combat optimized build because Strixhaven does have combat, but not a lot, and you could diffuse some of it. So it allowed an illusionist to be able to actually be useful and stuff like that.
Just a little more applicable. Spell casting can be has quite a variety, and being able to explore that fully, and then a magical school environment. I think it was a really good fit for him to play as an illusionist.
I mean, it was good for everyone. It was an interesting game, and like I said, we spent a couple games with I think like one or two fights, maybe zero fights. The most heavy fight you did was the sports year, where
Yeah.
where everyone like went to sports practice, split up in teams, fought each other. A monster appeared. You fought the monster, and then immediately went game on and fought each other again. The school had a concept that if you die, they have enough clerics and magic users to bring you back to life fairly easy.
You pay enough in tuition as it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my concept of it is you paid that's what tuition was for. Diamonds. Diamonds for the resurrection spells.
I'm sure they gotta have some people that have put in a lot of diamonds for their students.
You know, I was rereading Strixhaven and I realized it's kind of ridiculous that blood magic is so forbidden because necromancy isn't. And like vampires are a common thing, and they're
Mhm.
not bad. They're in the storyline that there's a good vampire. So I don't think blood magic should be that big of a deal. gonna say that. I know it's controversial. You're gonna like shoot someone with a lightning bolt or suck their blood out. Either way, they're gonna die.
I wonder if there's a deeper lore there. But in terms of characters, what else have you seen for characterization and patterns?
Well, for me, I either play full support or full defense. I like either tricky spells. I don't roll well. I have a history of some of the worst rolls in our group. So that's why I try to build characters that have saves on their attacks. It
Mm,
doesn't always work out with my current monk, but it's an idea I try to have.
yeah.
And then there's the other idea of as a DM, what tropes do I do as a DM? You've played in a lot of my games. So what are things, commonalities you've seen in my games?
I could say more about Ed's campaigns because he certainly likes to mix in some of the old with the new. But for yours, I think we do get quite a bit of variety. Pretty easygoing in terms of what is allowed. The rule of cool definitely holds sway there.
I like a good action movie.
Yeah, definitely a lot of action sequences, especially for us.
I've
Some
actually given
hand
y'all
waving.
like quick time events sometimes too. Like here's a cutscene. What do you do?
Definitely like to have character highlights in the games. What do you
I
think are
know
some of your quirks as a DM?
I know I've had body horror in a lot of my games. I know Strahd, there was body horror. And then I do a lot of Call of Cthulhu stuff with body horror. I do feel bad when I do like a massive hit and take out most of the party. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
as
true
a
too.
DM, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, even in spite of best intentions.
Yeah, sometimes. Let's see. I know I like atmosphere.
Hmm.
I try to build up atmosphere for a scene. I'm a big fan of like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games where you have gameplay, cutscene, gameplay, cutscene. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've even told my players, I'm like, listen, cuts one moment. Let me read out this bit.
especially within the French Revolution campaign with Call of Cthulhu, there were quite a few cutscenes there.
Yes, yes. But I believe I added atmosphere. I brought in French music of its time. I brought in mostly historically accurate songs, except for that one song that drove everyone insane. But that's kind of the point. One thing I don't mind in my games is like creatures from beyond. I think that's kind of why I like our Spelljammer game because we're doing a Star Trek thing. We're like space Star Trek pirates guys. I don't know how to describe
I,
our group.
I saw it's more of like semi outlaws, sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, we want to do the right thing, but at the same time, we want to do a little bad. At the end of the day, we're still trying to do the most good.
I do like our coming into a Tatooine like cantina and just stepping in. They're like, "Is there anyone who doesn't belong here? Here." And the guy like we just show up. We're the adventurers. Tell us where the plot is.
Yeah, that does lead to funny moments where metagaming is oddly funny in itself. There being one named NPC in a bar.
Carcius, my character's idea was he were looking out for beholders because we just made a major target on ourselves for beholders.
Spoiler
We're
alert.
yeah, literally. We're looking for a magic item. We want to make sure there's no other adventurers here. Also looking for it. Once we find the magic items, we're pretty sure we can defensively get out with it. We can figure a thing out.
So, what do you say
But
some of my quirks as a DMR?
well, you've mostly ran that Delta Green Apocalypse World game.
Hmm.
And I really liked it because you stuck with your guns with a punishment and with a horrific outcome. And we went with it. And we were all stunned. For the listeners, we were in a car accident. Our characters were. My character had explosive anger issues because of sanity loss, as the nature of Delta Green is. He got in a road rage accident. We wrecked into the thing. I messed up my drive check. We all got hurt. My
Some
character
of
got
us.
out. His Connor's character was bleeding, got in the like was in the front seat and was bleeding from the head. The doctor was trying to patch the character up. Didn't
They
work.
they rolled the worst they could probably roll, and I die because there was well, I didn't die.
And then my character yelled at the guy, got hit by a car, died in the rain. And then his friends took his car and his gear and drove off, leaving him dying in the rain alone. And I
It
was like, I
was
love this game. This game's great. This is why I play this.
I've mostly won one shots for you guys and haven't done a long term campaign, mostly because I've been very busy.
Well, when at the end, we did the knife ceremony thing and we chased the guy with the knife, tripped him over the stairs, and he fell and then he killed himself with the knife, right? And he caused the end of the
Right.
world. We switched to Apocalypse World, and maybe unintentionally, but maybe intentionally in a way, it really worked out because it made our characters look more insane. We were making choices that didn't make sense outside of the context of Apocalypse World, which makes sense in the context of a Delta Green game after all the sanity loss we had.
oh yeah.
So,
But
like, my character stripping off her clothes to be more badass because in Apocalypse World, I got a bonus for stripping off my clothes and being a badass. In real life, it made no sense for her to take off her bulletproof vest when they're about to fight the bad guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
some unintended consequences.
that was fun. I switched over from a yeah, I was like a basically like a tech person to literally be able to read technology. Which was that was like a weird evolution.
Yeah, it was interesting experience to blend several systems. It was actually 3 different systems, switching from Delta Green to Apocalypse World and space.
Well, as someone who's ran a lot of little one shots, that is a second game I've noticed with the techno horror theme of like technology talking to someone because we played Into the Void and that happened in that game.
Mhm.
We'll see if it pops up at
And
other games. Techno horror.
we played the Zone board game.
That's it. The
We had
zone.
technology talking.
We'll see if this is a trend. If you do more technology talks to things.
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
have
I
to
think this
see.
is dystopian too. Just technology having basically a soul. That's a whole flavor, I suppose.
When I DM, I like foreshadows. I like tricks. I like to make deals with players behind people's backs. I like giving players individual information that everyone else isn't privy to, and we'll see if what they do with that information.
I think the biggest case we had at that was when Quentin ran. I think it was not Delta Green. I think it was Delta Green that we were in the mall. And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
two of us were actually like undercover basically.
We were playing a modified Delta Green at this generated mall. We were playing celebrities. That's all what he told us to make. I was told to
Yeah.
make a celebrity. So I made William Dafoe with the idea of him like, hey, I'm William Dafoe. I'm something of a scientist myself, you know? Like I can't do a William Dafoe impression, but like the attitude of him trying to get an acting break and him like thinking it's a big bit or something.
The
Kept
other player,
referencing movies.
the other player Eddie played. That's called Michael. Was Michael Jackson or my thing?
Yeah, I think it was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I think it's Michael Jackson. And then
He was a lizard man, right?
no, he was a werewolf. I
Yeah.
was Jeff Bezos. Was a
And Jeff
lizard.
Bezos was the lizard man.
Yeah, which makes
Yeah.
full sense.
That makes William Dafoe like the actual person who's there.
Yeah, I think there's one other. I don't remember though. That was
Schwarzenegger.
oh yes, yeah, that
And he
was
was a clone.
So the story with that is that I was just telling them to make celebrities because in my story it was sort of like a Squid Game / Hunger Games, where all these celebrities were gathered to basically be there at the behest of ghouls that would take on the forms of these celebrities. They consume the life of the celebrity, getting all their memories and their experiences, and then shape shifting into them, continuing their life as though they'd never died. And they would mix in with these other celebrities that were, just normal celebrities
Like
in
William
a
Dafoe,
game of
just
mayhem.
there.
Just-
That's one thing I've noticed as a trend for me is I treat ghouls as they're generally good guys. Because I've more
Mhm.
than once ran a thing with ghouls and I've played ghoul characters in the past. My ghouls are generally good guys.
your recent ghoul was a he was eccentric. The Reign of Terror ghoul.
Yes, yes. The
Yeah.
ghoul that was Guillermo, fun character. But I normally treat ghouls as they're Karen eaters. They're just
Yeah.
after a meat. That's all. They're not bad.
I will say I was genuinely pleased about some of the playstyles for Reign of Terror, just because, man, I love that the horror games. That
Oh, Raid of
it's
Terror
so much
was
fun. So much
messed
fun.
up.
I just love that type of horror, so it's nice for me to be the player in it.
I mean, your character listened to the forbidden music twice,
Yes, that
and
was
ear bled out, went completely insane with a 74 sanity roll, and was like,
oh
"Yep,
man,
I'm going under the blade. I'm the one who's dying."
Then we've
yeah,
also done like Monster of the Week and Kids on Bikes as well
Well, I
for
know for a
systems.
fact my Monster of the Week games, I like to do Twin Peaks, Stranger Things games, which I've done in the past. And I enjoy running monsters may not be the bad guys, red herrings. Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
that guy is definitely the monster. Oh, it turns out this other guy is the monster kind of
I
thing.
think that's actually the one because I've ran a like a somewhat long term like horror game, and I think that's the one thing that works is if you put red herrings, it works so much better. It doesn't become like a whole oh this person's named character. Obviously, we need to focus on them. Helps with pacing a lot. I found if you just throw someone in that's very suspicious, but they're not actually the main person.
I remember one time I ran a Monster of the Week game as an episodic TV show for a different group, and I introduced a coyote character as an antique seller who just appeared in town with a weird store with a bunch of antique stuff there. Nobody knows why he's selling everything for cheap, practically giving it away. And they're
Yeah,
like, he's the bad guy. And I'm like, how do you know? And he was like, completely the good guy the entire time.
I think my favorite ploy of doing that was I ran a Monster of the Week game that had it was the whole thing was like a werewolf that was basically like drawing people in, and he contacted the group of monster hunters to kind of help fix it. But I put a dude in who was just socially awkward, but he was dressed as a vampire, so he didn't want to like enter the door without being invited in. Just as like a weird little like everyone look at this guy instead, just to throw
Is
everyone
he a
off.
vampire? Does he have autism? Who knows?
It was like the whole thing. Like I was gonna make it if they ever question him that he just doesn't like garlic for no reason. He just never liked it. But it's just
Yeah.
throwing a
Yeah,
little bit of
yeah.
confusion in there.
He has hypersensitive taste buds. Garlic's very strong taste.
Exactly, stuff
Yes.
like that. It's fun to throw in those red herrings just to make it not even that, it just adds more fulfillment to a game where it's not we just do this and this. It's subverting the expectations, I guess, the best way to put it.
Hmm.
I like a good cameo. I love a good cameo. That's why I like Strahd. There's because Mordecai is in there. He's the Mad Mage. Spoiler. I should have said that.
Well, it's been out for a while, so
Yeah,
hopefully.
fair enough. Another one is in Tomb and Violation. Volo is a major character. That's not a spoiler. He's in a major town. He's one of the first characters you should meet. We missed him because we didn't care about the town. Our characters had a separate mission away from the town.
Yeah.
We were pretty gun ho of our mission early on.
I think people find their own patterns, and you should always self-examine in a casual way, not to be like super serious about it, but just to see where things can be changed, and you can just have a collaborative conversation about the type of characters you play and the type of games you run. That's just all it is: continual conversation with people that you hopefully enjoy spending time with.
That's also a big thing too. Like we have a good pattern where we after every game session, whoever's running it will ask how it was, if there's any complaints or issues with it. Kind of just catch issues early if there's it's not going the way people don't want or feel like it's not as fun.
One thing I love about a group is we switch off the DM chair. As someone who used to forever DM, it sucks having to run the story all the time. I get to run a story and then sit down, and someone else gets to run a story, and I get to play the characters. Because I know I have a long list of characters I want to play of almost every class.
I mean, I don't really DM as much, but I usually fill in for those one shots. But there's at least a good mix because everyone runs it different too.
I
So
want to
you
see
get
you
good
DM
mix of stories.
a fifth edition game, Connor. I want to see one of your games.
Look, I told you I want to do the Into the Abyss, but that's I think I'm third on the list for games, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we have our Feywild next after the Spelljammer game.
I'm totally down to run because I think my problem is fifth edition is good for a player, but I like running horror games, so I need to find one
Mm.
that works. Genuinely, I'm so proud of the last the Call of Cthulhu game I ran. I was so happy with that one.
The coal one, the coal mine.
Yeah, that one.
That was pretty funny. That wasn't okay. I counted that as like a turn of a century coming of age story with horror. It's
Yeah,
the movie Super 8.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
There's a horrifying thing, but these kids are coming of age and they're learning to be grown-ups and solving a problem.
I still can't get over one of the players just absolutely being a menace in the dark, like doing the creepiest walk possible.
You are the and this take this as a compliment, the Ron Howard of our DM group. You make wholesome yet horror. Yeah, not terrible. They're good. I mean, your story was really great, and it was a great story and a great campaign, mini campaign. But it felt like a coming of age 50 story with horror in the minds.
I mean, it's also you gotta roll with it too. Like
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
did, you guys did a lot of chaos, and I was like, let's just roll with it, see how this goes. Like I was so
And
happy you picked heavy machinery as one of your skills.
always use heavy machinery. Always pick that as a
I
skill.
intentionally left the heavy machinery in there just because I was like, I hope someone does it because you've made a comment about it so many times.
I will always pick it as a skill. I don't care what we're running. If we're running Caveman, if we're running Call of Cthulhu Invictus, which is a Roman style game, which is something I've always thought about running, I will pick use heavy machinery. And I'm like, I could use a trebuchet.
No, it's such a funny skill that I think was just like
They
it was a
siege
little
weapons.
it was a little gag to throw in there just for fun because I knew it was gonna become relevant.
Always pick that.
This also comes down
That's
to group too.
that's one of my tropes is I definitely try to pick the obscure skill that will never come in handy until the one time it does.
Oh, I get it. I optimize all my builds. I think it's fun watching like reflecting. I always try to optimize everything when I first started playing,
Mhm.
and now even with the grappler, I could have done so much more damage and everything if I actually used a weapon. But it's just
Yeah.
the
I could have given you
optimization's fun.
a magical weapon that instead of magic tattoos that I make up.
Yeah, it's the fun in doing flavor first, I guess. It takes a second to get there, but once you can figure out the flavor is pretty fun. It's pretty nice.
All right, I think that about wraps it up for this time. What do you guys think?
That sounds good. Sounds good. We'll definitely record another episode. This is a thing that we should always think about. Just your themes, your tropes. Make what you're comfortable with. Make something new. But just
That's
be
always
you
true.
should be aware of it.
Dipping your toes in a new idea that you're used to is kind of fun. It may branch out to more things you didn't realize you enjoyed too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for TBD RPG podcast. Look forward to hearing you guys in the future.
All right. Sounds great. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.